Hey, congratulations. You got into medical school. Now the hard work is going to start. Okay, so I certainly hope that you're proud and that you're happy that you got in and that you're excited to start medical school. Now your job is really to get acquainted to your school. The school is going to help you settle in. Your upperclassmen certainly are going to help you settle in, learn the new regimens, the new schedules, the new rules. A lot of your learning is going to be in large classes, but most of your learning is actually going to be in small classes. The small classes are going to be more intimate and I think more interesting. You're going to get to know your classmates better. You're going to get to be closer to the professors. You're going to discuss medicine. You're going to discuss interesting cases, and you're going to learn how to think like a doctor more intimately. This is a big change from when I was in medical school, where most of my first 2 years of learning were in large classes. So this will be more engaging for you. You also get to monitor your progress a little better. But overall, it should make your learning a lot more engaging and interesting. Most medical schools now are introducing first-year students to patients. This is quite different from my day. The thing that makes it really interesting is that you get to learn early on how to combine and meld your learning, your book learning, with real-life patient interactions. These will be real patients or actor patients. They will have exam rooms where you go in and you have interactions with these actors or patients, and you get to practice the medical interview. It really helps bring your book knowledge into the real world. Now, if you haven't studied the history of medicine, I encourage you to spend a few hours early on in your medical education to have a gander at it. It's an absolutely fascinating part of human history that I think, if you have some knowledge of it, will give you a unique perspective of the information that you're going to be learning going forward. Let's take a break here and gloss over some of that history set to music. would be amiss not to mention the dark side of medicine. As painful as this history is, given that our profession is that of healers and healing, our profession has been peppered with Dr. Evils of the world. We've had doctors abuse their powers in times of war, certainly World War II. We've also had the Tuskegee syphilis trials. We've had the CIA-funded LSD trials in the United States and in Montreal. We can talk about enhanced interrogation led by physicians, or at least overseen by physicians, in the name of patriotic duty. We can talk about the misuse of psychiatry. We can talk about physicians leading experiments in prisons or third world countries. The various power dynamics leaves us prone to the possibilities of abuse. This was actually recognized as far back as the 5th century BC. If you just read the Hippocratic Oath, you see that physicians were to take an oath of doing no harm to their patients. Many of our great physicians of history wrote warning us of the potentials for abuse. Since the Hippocratic Oath, we've had the 1947 Nuremberg Code and the 1964 Declaration of Helsinki. Also, different institutions will have introduced their own codes of conduct, those in prisons, those at even medical schools and pharmaceutical companies. So we'll want to be able to recognize these abuses, these abuse of power, these inequalities, and these ethical violations. We want to have the courage to stand up to them and to work on righting them. After all, our solemn obligation is to protect our patients, and I think that will also spill over to protecting our society, our environment, and our politics. All right, let's get back to medical school. I think one of the things that I came late in understanding is that the study of medicine really brings in all the disciplines of science. It brings in mathematics, physics, chemistry, biochemistry, biology, anatomy, physiology, even biomechanics. And then, of course, it brings in the things that affect our patients and our society, like the social sciences, the economic sciences, the environmental sciences, and the political sciences. We certainly cannot dismiss the role of the political sciences, where politics protects our rights, like Roe versus Wade, or brings us clean water or clean air, or helps prevent war and destruction, things that really affect our patients on a real personal level and our society on a greater global level. Your first year is going to be totally overwhelming. You'll be studying your anatomy, your histology, your biochemistry, your molecular and cellular biology, your genetics, your population health, even some mathematics with statistics. The amount of medical information has just exploded. Just the science of immunology. In my day, I think there was just a macrophage. Now there is a myriad of different mechanisms in immunology that I have a hard time, in fact, find it impossible to keep up with. Yeah, there's an explosion of scientific, especially medical information that leads me to think sometimes that medical school really should be 5, maybe even 6 years long. But that's something for you guys to figure out. In the meantime, in addition to all this scientific information we expect you to learn, you are also expected to learn how to conduct a medical interview. A medical interview is a specialized kind of interview where you are using all the tools that you have learned in terms of your science and social sciences, and you are trying to obtain unbiased data from your patient or source and try to formulate a differential diagnosis, do a physical exam to support or negate some of these differentials, assess what sort of tests that you might need to administer, and then to figure out a treatment course and an appropriate follow-up. Yeah, all that is in the first year. Of course, you hone the skills over the next 3 years after your first year, but still, it is introduced in your first year of study. So you can see that first year can be truly overwhelming. The only thing I can say is that the first year is the hardest year. Your second year is going to be way better than your first year. Your third year is going to be way better than your second year. And your fourth year is going to be a blast. That said, the reality is many of you have left cities or towns that you've been living in for at least 4 years. You may have left family, loved one, certainly friends. And the transition to this new city or town, wherever your medical school is, can feel lonely. So how to survive your first year? It's really all about self-care. The 4 pillars of good health are going to include exercise. Daily exercise is key. Eat healthily. Choose your foods wisely. Bring home foods that are healthy. Sleep adequately. This is very important for rejuvenating the brain. And the 4th pillar is very important and sometimes overlooked, and that is socializing. Socializing is key to making and keeping connections and for good mental health. Every medical school wants their students to thrive. If you feel like you are becoming lonely, isolated, depressed, the earlier you recognize this and the quicker you ask for help, the quicker you will recover and get back on track. I cannot emphasize this enough. In addition, given that you're in small groups, watch out for your fellow students. If you feel like one of them is slipping into loneliness, isolation, depression, it's best that you approach this person earlier than later and get them help. This is one of the big benefits of these small groups as well. So all I can say is look after each other. I'm wishing you a great year, one that's going to be full of excitement. It's going to be a lot of work, a lot of material, so you're going to need to buckle down and find a good, quiet study area and some good study mates. And you're going to be a great physician. You just got to hang in there. We'll make more videos, perhaps on the medical interview, physical examination, so look out for those when I get a chance. I'm still learning this videography, and I realize I'm a bit choppy, but hopefully I'll get more natural and these will come quicker and easier. Take care, everybody.